guys, so today I am doing a video showing you how I clean up around my nails and how I get the straight line between my polish and my cuticle. I get a lot of questions about this. I do have an older video that shows this and it's relatively the same, but I thought I would put a more updated one up. So first of all, I am not the kind of person that can very cleanly and perfectly paint my nails. I'm just not capable of it. Some people, I know people like this that do not have to do any cleanup at all because they can paint their nails perfectly. I definitely am not that kind of person. I don't know if you guys follow Manny Geek. She blogs, she Instagrams, but she posts videos of her painting new polishes on her nails on Instagram, and the line and everything, it's perfect. The second she does it, it is absolutely perfect and it's amazing. I don't know how she does it. Not capable of that myself. So I generally have a lot of cleanup to do when I do my nails. So I wanted to just show how I do this, talk about how I do it a little bit, and just go through the steps. So the first thing when I'm painting my nails for a swatch, side note, I do intend on doing another video that kind of shows how I take my pictures, my swatch pictures, my videos, things like that. So think of this as maybe a little bit of a series, but I feel like this one has to come first. So before you even paint your nails, something that is very critically important to getting a clean line, I'm sure there is a specific word for this and I can't think of it, but when your nails are growing out, occasionally you get cuticle that sticks to the nail. It's dead skin, it's dry, but it is attached to the nail. That's where cuticle remover comes in. This is the California mango one. I think I just got this for free when I bought the oil from Sally's. It was a deal at some point. So this is actually a really important step. If you don't regularly use cuticle remover, it's good to incorporate into your manicures, but it is also really important to getting clean lines around your cuticle. If you have any of that dry, it's almost scaly skin that's, like I said, dead and stuck to the nail, you put a little bit of this around your nails, let it sit for a couple seconds. I cannot find my scraper. However, I do have close-up clips of it. But I use that. It's got a cuticle pusher on one end and then just a flat scraper end on the other. So push my cuticles back and then I will very gently take that scraper end and kind of try to push that dry, dead cuticle off of my nail. This will soften that and make it easier to lift. Oh, it's right here. So I will take this flat end and I'll scrape that up. You don't want to go crazy with it. You don't want to push too hard. You don't want to be like going back and forth really fast because you can slip. That cuticle remover is a little slimy, it's slippery, and you can slip too far and really damage and hurt the living cuticle around your nails. So you do want to be really careful with this. But that is really important because if you're trying to get a clean line around those dry pieces of skin, the polish is going to stick to it and you're not going to get a clean line. So I think the first and most important thing when you are painting your nails to do a nice clean line is how you actually paint them. So I am not good at painting my nails very cleanly, but there is a little bit of a technique that can make this a lot easier. So like I said, I don't have a steady hand at all, but the thing that I found that makes it really easy to paint my nails and not get polish all over my skin is to make sure that my hand is on a flat surface, laying on a flat surface. First of all, the hand that I'm painting and the hand that I'm painting with, I try to rest this side of my palm on the same flat surface as well. That makes it so that I can't shake and get polish where I don't want it, and it just helps to steady my hand. The actual technique that you use when you paint your nails is equally important. So technically it's the 3-stroke method, but I tend to do multiple strokes after that because I just always feel like my polish isn't even. But the biggest way that I found to keep from flooding the actual cuticle area with the brush is not to take the brush and set it down as close to the cuticle as you want and pull forward. You want to set it down on the nail a little bit forward from the cuticle. So you want to set it down, push it back, and then pull it forward. And that pushing back towards the cuticle motion gives you a lot more control, and it drops the majority of the polish, what would be prone to running into your cuticle, farther away from the cuticle, if that makes sense. So the big drop of polish is not going as close to the skin as possible. It's going towards the middle, and then you're pushing a little bit of it back. So that's going to help a lot, and it's going to save you a lot of cleanup in the long run. What I generally use to clean up is the e.l.f. $1 concealer brushes. I know these are a little bit different. I have not used the new ones. From what I've seen of the new ones, it just looks like the bristles are different, like maybe a different material, they're a different color, but I really like these. I have a huge stockpile of these. Like 2 years ago, I think the minimum on the e.l.f. website was like $40 for free shipping, so I spent $40 on cleanup brushes, and that was, like I said, 2 years ago, and I'm still using them. They are not all perfect. The majority of the time I can open one of these brushes up and I can use it for months and months. Occasionally I'll have to take some cuticle nippers and trim some stray hairs off that might be sticking out and can ruin the polish. For the most part, I can use them for a pretty long time. They don't stay flat and pointed and perfect. The more you use them, kind of wider the bristles get, but it happens so gradually that I tend to get used to it. On occasion, I will get one that completely falls apart the second it dips into the acetone. I've had the bristles fall out completely, and I've also had them like eat away like I dripped them in acid. But in the probably 100 or so of these brushes that I've gone through since I started using them, I can only think of maybe 3 or 4 times that that's happened. So there are duds out there, it does happen, but for me I haven't really come across them that often. There are a lot of other cleanup brushes that are really popular. I actually have a few from Twinkled Tea that I plan on doing a video to kind of compare them. I have not opened those or used those yet, but there are a lot of options if you want something a little bit more permanent than as disposable as a $1 brush can be, but those are going to take a little bit more care to keep intact. So I use the $1 concealer brush. I use a little dampen dish, which you can get probably at Sally's, I would assume, just about everywhere. They're generally used to hold acrylic liquid, but they hold my acetone really well. I did end up getting this squeeze bottle for acetone. I buy it by the gallon and then I fill this squeeze bottle up. I find that this is a lot easier to squeeze a controlled stream into this little dish rather than having to use the bottle, keeping the lid open, which is going to cause it to evaporate, or trying to pour a large lid into this little dish. I ruined one or two, I think it's happened twice, memory cards by having them sitting on my desk, which was stupid to begin with, and spilling acetone on my memory cards. So I ended up getting something a little bit more controlled, which is this squeeze bottle. Side note, another thing this is really good for is if you spill polish on carpet. It's probably not the best thing to use acetone to clean it up, but I find it's the most efficient. And something about the stream here, you can put like a little bit more of a high pressured stream and it just like washes the polish away magically. I've tried to dab polish out of carpet with acetone and it kind of spreads it around. For some reason, it becomes like a little acetone pressure washer, and if you squirt it out of the bottle and onto the polish, it breaks it up. And I have light carpet and I've never had a polish stain, as long as I get to it immediately, that I haven't been able to get up with this bottle. I'm not sure how it works, but I keep it around for that as well. And of course, I do use 100% acetone. You can use nail polish remover, non-acetone nail polish remover, whatever you want to use. This is going to be the most drying on the skin, but I find that it takes everything off as cleanly as possible, and it allows for really crisp lines as well. So if you flood your cuticles with polish, a lot around the cuticle area, around the side of the nail, you want to get that right away. So if I am painting my nails, I flood my cuticle or I get polish on my skin, I stop what I'm doing, I get the brush and the acetone, and I kind of scoop that away right away. If it dries there, it's going to be really hard to clean off of the skin, especially if you're using a blue or a red. It has the potential to stain. When you dip the brush into the acetone, make sure that you are only dipping in the bristles. If you go too far up this metal part of the brush here, you're going to dissolve the glue and your bristles are going to fall out. If you go even farther up, especially on these e.l.f. brushes, this white paint will dissolve and stick to your fingers, and it's actually really annoying to get off your fingers because I do this accidentally a lot. So make sure you're just dipping the bristles in. When I dip my brush in the acetone, I always try to either wipe the sides off really well, or even, and this is really bad because it's probably terrible for my skin, I'll take the brush and I'll just like tap it to my arm really quick and just get that big bead of acetone off of it. You want to do this because if you drop the brush around your cuticle with a ton of acetone on it, the acetone is going to run all the way around, potentially dissolve the polish that's already there and make the pigment run into your skin, which will cause staining. So you want to make sure it's not dripping wet with acetone when you do this. And you want to take the bristles and kind of point them, if it's in your cuticle, point it towards your cuticle and almost scoop the polish out a little bit. Same thing if it's down the sides, you want to scoop it out because it's usually a large, we're talking about a large bead here. Now when it comes to actually just cleaning up the line around your nails, the situation is a little bit different. I like to have my polish be a little bit more dry when I do this. I find that it makes it easier to get a clean line. If you take the brush and try to clean up the line while the polish is still very wet, you're more likely to drag it rather than dissolve it. I will paint all 10 nails and then go back from where I started, and by that time the polish is dry just enough that it's not going to drag polish around my nail. It's actually going to dissolve it and clean the line up. So the technique that I use when I do this, it was very difficult for me to film because I'm usually doing this like this close to my face, and so it was hard to get on camera. The angle's going to be a little bit awkward, but it is really simple. I really just take the brush, dip it in the acetone, dab off any extra. Probably would make more sense to have a paper towel or something to dab it off onto than to just put it on your skin, but I'm lazy and that's how I do it. And go around the nail. I tend to take the brush, and it's going to be really hard to show you. Let me open this one. This is a new one, but I'll open it. And I take the flat end of the brush, and I try, when I'm doing the top of my nail, I try to hold the brush this way against my cuticle. Yes, it's getting a lot more acetone on my cuticle. That's why you want to moisturize like crazy when you're done with this, because acetone is very drying. But I find that that's the easiest way to clean the top part of the curve without accidentally dipping the brush down into my polish or hitting my polish with it or anything like that. So I do the tops with my hand facing me like this. When I do the sides, I turn my hand around and I do it the other way because, again, I want to kind of angle that brush back down my finger instead of angling it towards my nail. So with my nails, and this isn't everybody's situation, they tend to have a little bit of a weird shape. They are not perfectly rectangular. My thumbnails especially have parts that almost curve into the side of my nail, so they're very strange. If I paint the entire surface of my nail, then that shape is going to be really obvious, and I don't really like it that much. So when I do the sides of my nails, I tend to create a straight line, and I go ahead and just don't even worry about painting all the way to the sides of my nail. And I get a lot of comments about this in swatch videos. In swatch videos, it's like extreme because I don't want any polish near my skin because I have to do so many swatches. I don't want any staining, and it's a lot easier to clean it up when you're doing one after another after another. When I'm actually wearing a manicure though, I do still do this to some extent because I'm kind of contouring my nails, I guess, a little bit. My thumb is a good example, and I know you won't be able to see anything from here. My thumbnail here curves very far into the side of my nail. And I don't like that, and I'm not going to paint that because it's going to be really obvious that the shape is strange. So I will take my brush when I do the sides and I will make a straight line here. I'll take any polish off of that curved part that might have gotten there and I'll create a straight line. And that's going to make the illusion of the nail being like perfectly rectangular all the way down the sides. Some people have nails that are like that already. Awesome. I don't, and so I kind of have to fake it. So after that, you're pretty much good to go. Make sure you moisturize it really well. Cuticle oil, cuticle balms, do it all the time, especially after a manicure if you use this method because you are using acetone, it's on your skin, it's very drying. You'll be able to see like a white kind of ashy cast to the skin around your nails because it's so dry from the acetone, so you definitely want to try to put that moisture back in. You're gonna have big dry cuticle problems. So hopefully this was helpful to everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, let me know, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.